Ted Lasso really rubbed off on me. It's
absolutely.
That quote that he says is, be curious, not judgmental. And I think a lot of people are quick to judge when if they had a curious mindset, you'd learn a lot more and you'd probably get a lot further.
This episode of the Ingredients Podcast is brought to you by Tanda, helping the best venues stay ahead. Now, if you want to run a great venue but stay compliant at the same time, then hit up the Tanda team at hospitality@tanda.com.au. Welcome to this episode of the Ingredients Podcast. Today, we're here with Jackson McGrath, the co-founder of Greenstreat, an amazing brand, and I've known for Jackson for a long time. Today, we talk about his balance of family and brand, how he's scaling a values-driven brand, and everything debunked about nutrition as well. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. Jackson, welcome to the Ingredients Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Shaun.
Thanks for coming on. Great to be here in Greenstreat, in Little Collins Street in Melbourne. I think probably of all my green streets that I've been to, and I've been to nearly every single one except the Brisbane one.
You got to get there.
I do have to go. This is probably my favourite, right? Like this just has a really good energy and vibe about it. Like, when did Greenstreat Little Collins open?
Greenstreat Little Collins opened start of 2024.
Okay.
You wouldn't have known it though, because I was covered in scaffolding for a year.
Yes.
So it was a bit of a bumpy start, but the point of this story is to just bring it to life. Have vibrancy is it's not just about food; it's about everything. So being playful with what's around, the lighting, the soft tones of the fruit, vegetables around, without it being poxy.
Yeah.
So I'd say our real launch was at the start of 2025, and that's when we really got going here.
Yeah.
It's been fun ever since. Yeah.
What have you noticed about the Melbourne sites? Because you've got a good standing in Melbourne from when you opened up in Albury Wodonga. Like, I know that's very, very different to a Melbourne CBD site or a Brisbane CBD site. Like, what have you seen the nuances in the Melbourne CBD?
So Melbourne for me has always been close to my heart, even though I didn't grow up here, only being a 3-hour drive from Melbourne, and my parents being in hospitality. I grew up in a restaurant. We always came to Melbourne to find, what the next thing was, or to be inspired, or whatever it is. Melbourne has always been the food capital of Australia, and it still is today. So it's always been a really fun place to come. So for me to open up in Melbourne was really, really exciting. And I guess the opening was a real challenge, and that's because you need to know Melbourne. You need to know what you're doing in Melbourne. There's high competition. It's a different landscape. There's a lot of culture in Melbourne that you need to work with, and it's a real eye opener coming to Melbourne. And I think fast forwarding to today and looking back, it's been a real slow trajectory for us, and we've at points throughout that journey, we've been like, are we doing the right thing? Is it going to make it? All that sort of thing. But the strength of Melbourne is once you get that trust, it just keeps going and going and going and going, which is very different to, say Brisbane, where once it clicked, it really clicked, and it never went away. Whereas we've been in Melbourne for 3 years now, and it's just been gradual. It's step by step. As each person comes through that door and tries the food, gets the experience of Greenstreat, it just clicks, and it just happens slowly. So it is different. It's very different, but I think it's different in a good way because it's built off trust. Yeah. And it's built off, are you good enough?
Yes.
And for me, that's awesome because it just pushes you and it drives you harder. So it's been a really good challenge for us. And now, opening this store, being our third store, we know that Greenstreat was made for Melbourne, and now it's exciting for what we can do in the future.
Do you find the level of trust taking longer to get that trust in Melbourne is because there is more competition? Like, there is more places to probably get a salad than there is in Brisbane. Like, I worked in Brisbane for a long time, and I know how you probably can get trust in people in Brisbane a bit quicker, but maybe there's a bit less competition as well, so they want to see you do really well.
I think so. I think it's a lot of it is to do with competition, but I think being in Melbourne, being in a place that is so food driven, it's not just about the food. It has to be more than just the food. It has to be experience. It has to be the connection. It has to be you have to tick a lot of boxes. So yes, I'd say competition is a big part of it, but I think you need to prove yourself in other ways as well, which is the beauty of hospitality.
Yeah. How do you make a salad brand work in the middle of winter in Melbourne?
Good question. Try a lot of things. I think the most important thing is you stay true to what you are doing. And for us, that is about making people feel better.
Yep.
And, there is room for a salad in the middle of winter, believe it or not. Before we started Greenstreat, we did a lot of travel. We did a lot of analysis in different countries. And in Australia, we don't really get that cold. It does get miserable, but not that cold. When you're looking at places like Dublin or New York or London, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's really cold.
Great point.
Toronto, barely ever sees the sunlight. But when you look at that and how these healthy places are surviving, well, not just surviving, thriving, gives us a lot of confidence that it's gonna, it's fine in this area. And it's not about the food as such; it's about how people feel. Yeah. And if you eat something that makes you feel better, you're going to come back again and again and again, regardless of the weather. Rain might stop someone coming, but there's other ways to get it. Yeah. So as long as you're there and you're available, and they don't have to come into the four walls, so to speak, it doesn't really dip that much. It's just about putting yourself in the position to give the food to whoever wants it on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say without you in the room, but I think Greenstreat is like one of the best salad products in the market around the country.
Appreciate it.
But it isn't. But in such a hyper-competitive market, product is not the only thing you can lean on, right? Yeah. How important do you think brand is in regards with making sure you can get the Greenstreat message out there and exposing to more people?
The product is a huge part of it. It really is, because I think the brand comes from trust in the product. But when you look at the product, a lot of people get stuck on just giving a product and stopping there. And it's so much more than that. You need to, first and foremost, being healthy, you need to be satisfying. You need to be satisfying. You can't give healthy food without being satisfying, because you know what the end result's going to be. Straight to one of the competitors for that trip home.
Yes.
You need to be satisfying, and you need to meet at that crossroads of healthy, satisfying, yummy, and just really high flavour. So that's what we've done. And luckily, Jesse and I, my brother and I, come from a family of food. We come from a family of flavour. Like literally our other business is dressings. So we've got that side down pat. And with that, I think that's where I always look, is like, what is your element of difference, or what is your competitive advantage? And that's ours as flavour. Sure. So when you put it against the health side of things, and when you put it against the satisfaction side of things, every single time someone comes and has that, and it's value for money, they'll come back again and again and again, because they feel good about it. It's not what's next, or that was all right. I'm going home and getting a burrito on the way home because I'm still hungry, or I'll go to Coles and get some chocolate just to itch that, scratch that itch, so to speak. But you've got to give the whole package, because if you don't do that, you're not living your mission. So health's so important, but it's not everything. To get that brand trust, you need to do so much more than just a product. And that's what we strive to do. We're not perfect, but we will get better and better and better every day. And we'll make sure that when you come to Greenstreat, you're getting a lot more out of it than what you are today and what you're used to.
When you think about product development, do you think product development and changing your product lines, doing limited time offers, LTOs on a regular basis, like fast food does, for example, to engage people more? Do you think that's as important in a health brand, or do you think, or like, how often do you guys actually develop new product lines that you're launching?
Again, that comes out of trust, doesn't it? So brand trust. Limited time offers work well. The playbook of marketing is do it because it works. But it gets boring and it gets repetitive, and it's easy. It's really easy to do it. What worked last year, bring it back. Awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not what we're about. Take that same mentality, but take it further. How can we showcase so much more than just a meal because it sells? Like, we want to showcase. It's really hard in Australia because you can't showcase farmers direct to your store as easy as you'd like, because there's a whole ecosystem around it, and farmers aren't set up to be able to give direct to you at scale.
Like they do in the US, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and they've got little hubs, but that didn't start like that. You've got to work towards that, and you've got to get better at it. But yeah, for us, I think it's so important that we showcase whatever we possibly can in Australia, and we showcase the people, but we showcase most importantly where the food is coming from. If we could trace it, that's amazing.
Sure.
But showcase flavor, showcase fun, showcase energy, and that doesn't come from a rinse and repeat. That comes from creation. Like create new products, create things that you know that you're energized by, because if you believe in it, you know that that's the first step to them, to the customer being happy and satisfied and getting something from it. So for us, limited time offers are great, but that's not where it stays. It goes further than that. It goes so much further than that. So we use seasonality to showcase that. What's in season? How can we support that? How can we turn that Brussels sprout from being something that most Australians hate into something that's like, what is that? That's not a Brussels sprout. That can't be a Brussels sprout.
Yeah.
And making a whole meal about a Brussels sprout, and then it becoming, in the top 5 top sellers of that season. Like, that's unheard of. That's something that you dream about, but that's what you can do if you do it properly.
Sure. So when you think of product development, where do you start? Because you've got the competitive advantage of a salad dressing that you guys own with your family. Do you start with the salad dressing in mind first, or do you start with the protein first, or does it change?
It's a really good question, because we've been open for nearly 8 years now, and when it comes to menu development, it's not smooth sailing. There's so many things that happen, and there's so many different ways to do it, and there's so many, that didn't work, let's try this. So does marketing come first? Does product development come first? Does the theme come first, or does the flavor come first? I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think where we're at right now is that we want to make the best food we can possibly make. In order to do that, we need to start with what's in season, because if it's at its peak flavor, that ingredient, and we utilize that and just build on that, that's the smartest way to do it right now from where I sit. And then from that becomes what is currently happening in the market, where can we push it, and what theme comes from that. So to answer your question, for us, it's all about the food as a singular item. So if we're using tomatoes, for instance, when are they in season? Start there and build on that, and make your theme and your campaign off that. We're at the moment, I can't give too much away, but we just came from a meeting then, which was all menu development.
Yeah, right.
So where do we start? We start with what's in season and what's exciting, and also what can we grab that no one uses and turn it into something that everyone wants. That's a challenge. There's a lot of flops that happen with that.
Yes.
But that's a fun part of it. You live and you learn, and if it's not quite right, you tweak it and you try again next year. But a lot of the time, what we do really works. The seasonal menu goes straight up to about, by the end of the season, it probably tapers a little bit down towards that 15% of the menu. But if we hit the mark on a good menu, it can go straight above 20%, which is great. And a good example of that is the Anusa salad, which we wait for the mangoes to be ripe. We don't wait for them to be available. We wait for them to be ripe. And then once they're ripe and they're Australian mangoes, we put it on the menu, the Noosa salad. And it's so close to my heart, because it's my mum and dad's recipe, the Noosa salad. That was being made before I was born, in the restaurants with them, with the same dressing, mangoes, chicken, coconut, the bacon. And it tells a story, and it's so close to our heart. We care about it so much. That makes it so much further with the customer and the brand trust. So we want to find more of those. Fruit and salad is like a maybe.
Yeah.
The Noosa goes straight to the top seller within a week of starting it.
Wow.
So that's unheard of. Fruit and a salad. And we've got the burger bowl, which is all year round, is huge sales. We bring on the Noosa salad, just boom, straight up.
Really? Just because the mango? Well,
No,
a large majority of it.
it's the whole thing.
Yes.
It's the whole picture.
Yeah, right.
So, the mango, as I said before, you wait for it to be at the peak of mango season, or the peak of a mango coming down from, whether it's Northern Territory or Queensland.
Yep.
It usually starts in the Northern Territory. As soon as that's ready, we use that flavour and we build on it. So the poppy seed dressing goes amazing with the mango, that pairing, with the chicken, the bacon, the coconut, the pine nuts, and the cos lettuce. The whole thing, when you eat it, it screams summer.
Yeah.
And that's what they come out of winter,
They're
craving it. Yeah, no longer is heavy carbs and grains and all that. That's not what people are looking for. They want to feel good about it, especially if it's if we're in Melbourne, and it's a gloomy winter, which coincidentally it was. We want freshness. We want to give our body a jolt to know that it's spring's already arrived. Let's start eating a little bit more zingy.
Yeah. Last question about product development, just because I'm super interested and I know how important beverage is to QSR brands and alike. Is the product development around your drinks, is that more probably set and forget, or do you still put a lot of time and energy into how you do product development for your drinks?
Early on, I did a lot of product development. I brought on probably 50 smoothies in year one, or trial a lot of smoothies in year one.
Okay.
I ended up taking them away because I could not keep up with the blenders kept breaking,
Right.
and because I was in Albury, the pieces trying to get replacements.
Of course.
So I found myself, the salads and the food, selling up to 1,000 salads a day in Albury, and then would let a customer down because we couldn't give them the smoothie they wanted. So I ended up just taking it away for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, 3 years later, we've brought it back, smoothies, and we brought back the best of the bunch. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time and effort goes into it. But for me at Greenstreat, I love next gen products. And when I say next gen product, it's what are people doing in the product space that isn't just branding. It's good branding, but it's so much more than that. It is good for you. The people that are using different types of olive oils that are more expensive, the ones that are going without the preservatives.
Yep.
The people that are doing the brands that are doing a little bit more. I love to look at them and I love to see, how can we partner with them and what can we do? So I think it goes in ebbs and flows. If I have time to be able to focus on that and do the product development and my brother Jesse, who's in charge of products, he spends a lot of time doing it. But if there's one that just fits perfectly, we'll bring it on and we'll give it a go and we'll see if we can push it as much as we possibly can.
Yep.
But there's an element of the drinks that people just want. When they come into a venue, they just want what they want. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure we have something for everyone. We don't want people to come to Greenstreat and stand in a line for a little bit or just wait for their meal for a little while and feel like they're wasting their lunch break only to go to a supermarket to have to get a drink that they want. So we try and do it broadly as much as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. And the future of Greenstreat is all about new products. What can we do in-house the right way to get better and give more? So that's where we're just getting started now.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's part of the scaling process is you need to focus on what's important and build on it.
Which dovetails into my next question. I know if you knew I was going to ask this question.
You're welcome.
There you go. What has been the one thing that's been the hardest to scale this brand? Like you're in multi-state. You've been around for a good amount of time, not a long time, but still a good amount of time to learn a lot of lessons now. What's been the hardest thing in order to scale the brand?
Where do I start, really? Scaling a business, anyone that's done it before knows the challenges that come with scaling a business. Me never have done it before. I'm always just head first, try it, see if it works. That mentality can be challenging when you're scaling a business because it's a completely different beast. And there's been a whole evolution of, you go from one store to 2 stores, and the challenge is keeping those 2 stores consistent. That's the first challenge that comes. And you might completely underestimate it. And then all of a sudden you've got one store, customer feedback saying, I prefer to go to the other store because it's more consistent or whatever it is, tastes better there or tastes better there.
Yep.
So trying to figure out that consistency complex is the first challenge, and it's a hard challenge to get done actually because you can't be everywhere at once.
Yep.
Now the thing for me is that my second store was in Brisbane.
Yes.
I put 2,000 kilometers away from my stores, and then COVID hit, so I didn't actually step foot in one of my restaurants for nearly a year. So getting those systems in check was very difficult to do from afar with new management and all that sort of stuff. So I think that was probably a unique circumstance of scaling a business. We worked through it, and then we opened more stores, just new challenges arose. The one thing that never goes away is the consistency problem, because whether you have the best systems in the world, the best employees in the world. Everyone has different ways of doing things, and you can either be super tight on your systems and super tight and make sure that everything is done by the book. For us, we wanted to give a little bit more ownership to the team and allow them to do a little bit more, a little bit of a flair, not so much with the food, but more, the environment, the energy, the systems that go alongside getting a store ready for service, all that sort of stuff. But the consistency of the stores is still something that we talk about always today. And from store one, where you're doing everything, my brother out the back, me out the front, it's pretty easy. At the time, I'm thinking, this is a bit of a challenge, but that was easy.
Yes.
It's when you get more and you spread yourself more, you just cannot be the person that you were. So you need to evolve yourself.
Sure.
And if you don't have that mindset early on, it's very hard to reverse engineer things when you've got quite a lot. So we had our first 3 stores were in 3 different states. Yeah. So you would have thought I learnt from Albury to Brisbane. Yes. But then I went to Victoria. And the whole time, learning, which is fantastic, but you're sort of chasing the tail a lot. And with food, you can't afford to chase the tail. You need to be very on it. So we quickly pivoted to centralise in areas that could do it. And a lot of people think centralisation is a bad thing.
It's a negative thing, right?
But yeah, it is a negative thing. But in reality, it's only negative if you allow it to be negative. If you're taking away from the things that you shouldn't take away from, which usually is food, by using preservatives, by using things that keep food stable for a long time. But that's not what we mean about centralising. What we mean about centralising is getting consistency and making sure that every single store gets the best product they can possibly get at a consistent way. So we went from doing everything in the store to centralising in Melbourne. And the reason that we did that is for consistency. And since we've done it, we've got rid of our consistency issues, and it's been a game changer for us. Now the thing is, every single time we bring on a new menu, we need to make sure that it's right for the service, it's right for the kitchen, it's right for the logistics. So it opens up a whole new door of making sure that we're getting that food from the farm to the salad bowl in the same way that we did it day one.
Yeah.
And we haven't always been perfect at doing this. It's been a massive learning curve for us, but what it's allowed us to do is be consistent and give good product always.
Yeah.
And it only took us 7 years to figure it out.
Some brands never figure it out. So
our dressings, as I said earlier, our dressings are our competitive advantage. We've already got that flavour down pat. So to be able to make sure they're done consistently as well, there's no point doing them in each store, because the smallest little change can alter not only the flavour, but also the safety.
Yeah.
So we're really big on making sure that the dressings are done to spec, because if we give out a product that is subpar in flavour or at a risk to anyone, it's not good enough. So it's been a really good thing for us to do.
When you're thinking about talent in your stores, like obviously people are one of the ways that you can scale a business a lot quicker, having really great quality people, right? But also in this space, we know it's really competitive to get the best talent in venue delivering on great experiences, especially because you're looking at a staff base which is probably 18 to 25, which is sometimes in Australia not seeing this part of hospitality as a career, unfortunately. How have you been able to scale to the amount that you have, given it is sometimes transition staff who come through venues?
Well, I think that comes down to your ethos. One of the things I love about hospitality is the fact that you get to make an impact on people's lives every day, because it is all about the people. When I say all about the people, everyone, not just your staff, also the customers, not just your customers, also your staff, suppliers, all stakeholders. You're able to make an impact every single day. You can always get better at doing that. And to do that and scale doing that is a challenge. And it always will be a challenge. And I think when you have the mindset of, okay, what can I do to make sure people don't see Greenstreat as a stepping stone? It's not a stepping stone to something else, which I think in Australia, that is a lot of the time the case, is that people think it's a stepping stone to something else. You know, you go to uni, you get a job at a pub just till you get out of uni so you can go get your dream job or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But in that journey, people find that they absolutely love hospitality and they want to stay in hospitality. We want to create that same sort of mentality of what can we do for our team to make sure that they see this as a career. They see this as an opportunity to grow, because it's exciting to be part of something that is growing. It's exciting to be part of something that's not just growing, but changing the way that Australians eat.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's a challenge. Obviously, it's a massive challenge just to get the amount of food through the door is a challenge, let alone getting it to the customer and them enjoying it. So there's a whole heap of things that go into this every single day. And the people that see that and grab onto it, it's infectious. Because I've seen teams that work and I've seen teams that don't work.
Yeah.
And the one common denominator with the ones that do work is good management in the stores. That good manager not only gives great service, they give the team a chance to enjoy hospitality, which a lot of the time doesn't happen in Australia. Yeah. And I think that's sad, but I think we've got a good opportunity to change that. Not just Greenstreat, I'm talking about collectively. The fast casual space is changing. It's becoming more mainstream. And it's because of the energy that's coming into it. It's because of the opportunities and the growth. Fine dining has always been that amazing place to be a part of. But I think we're starting to see elements come into the fast casual space. Yeah. And a lot of people are doing it well. And it's exciting because a lot of the time the staff or the employees of that venue show how excited they are to be there. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you grew up, I'm sure you know when you walk into one of these venues, there's barely a smile. Yeah, exactly. Barely a smile. Mm. And if anything happened, it's like, it's not my problem. I'm going to uni. I'm out of here, whatever it is. We want to change that. We really want to change that. Mm. It's not just about changing the way we eat. It's about changing the way we feel. Yeah. It's about changing our mentality around everything. So, I'm a big questioner. I question everything, but I want people to do the same. So retaining the retaining part of your question is all on leadership. It's all on our systems. It's all on our trajectory. It's all where are we going, and how do we create that psychological safety that people think or know they can be themselves and learn. But then finding staff, that's challenging. Finding staff is challenging in new areas because if you haven't got that brand presence or that brand trust, it's very hard to just get that first person that sort of pushes the dominoes over. So it's a challenge, but if you've got the mindset that you will find them, because in hospitality, we have great people around us that can help in this area and find those people, and you just get that one good person and you treat them well and you build a team around them, the rest is history. You just got to make sure you maintain that. So all the small 1%ers, probably sounds cliched, but all those 1%ers that you do every single day, that's the difference between having a bad team and a good team. Yeah. And it all starts with the leadership.
Do you think it's a blessing? I know you're in Melbourne a lot. Obviously, as you said, you're 2,000 kilometres away in Brisbane. Yep. Obviously, one store in Brisbane. Do you find it a blessing that you are in Brisbane? It allows you to think about the Victorian venues and even Albury-Wodonga in a lot different way because you're not in them all the time. Like, I know how detail orientated you are. And do you think maybe if you were in Melbourne full time that you would engross yourself in being part of the day-to-day all the time and therefore not have the strategy mindset that you do?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. To answer quickly, yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I think for me, like to go back to a previous question, is part of the challenge of scaling is your own mentality. It's changing who you were to who you want to become, or who you need to become in order to not be the bottleneck that's slowing down the business. And that was a challenge for me. I'm very operational in my approach. I love people, I love connection, I love jumping on the point of sale and just trying to get that connection. But that's not what the business needs going forward. So for me, it was a bit of a challenge to step out of that operational role and to learn a new skill set and to look broadly about where we're going.
How did you learn that skill going from ops into strategy?
Hospitality. You meet great people. You meet people that have been there before. You meet people that are doing it. You meet people that want to do it. And even other other industries. People want to help. So if you are willing to take feedback, if you are willing to put yourself out there, you will learn. You will learn as long as you don't believe your own BS.
Yes.
A lot of people just get caught on their egos, and that's where they stay. So you gotta squash that. You gotta reach out to people. You gotta believe that what you want to become is there, because people will help you get there. So finding great mentors, listening to podcasts, listening to for me audio books, or just grabbing a good book and learning all the time is great. On the contrary of that, though, don't get caught in the sea of information.
Yes.
Because you can quickly become someone that you don't want to be. So you need to have that fine. Yeah, it's a very fine path that you walk of being someone that people want you to be, and staying true to yourself and adding on who you already are. And that sometimes gets murky.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the process as well. It's like the bowling alley with the bumpers up.
Yes.
When you get close, you need to make sure that you come back into the middle. And I think that's really important that you understand what you're trying to do first and foremost, but who you are.
Sure.
Because if you stray too far away from that, you'll lose most people in your life. But if you just add on skill sets to what you've already got as a core human, that's where you can really move mountains, I think.
Maybe this is a question probably for my own benefit as well as the listeners or watchers of the podcast, but like, you've obviously got a young family. You're part of a growing business here. A lot of challenges, but a lot of wins along the way. This is a family business. Your brothers are involved in this too, which has a different dynamic. Yep. How do you switch off?
You don't.
Are there set days which you say, nah, I'm not talking about Greenstreat, or I'm just hanging out with my wife and my daughters, or like, how are you doing that?
It ebbs and it flows. It really does. I've taken steps in past years where you need to just completely switch off, turn your phone off, turn everything off, just completely zone out. I find it's hard. You get sucked back in.
Yeah.
And I think the result completely depends on how well you've set yourself up. So preparation is key for everything. Preparation will allow you to spend time with people you want to spend time with. Am I perfect at doing it? Absolutely not. Am I traveling too much? Absolutely. But the thing is, you need to be able to set things in motion, live out that plan of what you've put in place to be able to get the results. So me having a young family, I've got a soon to be 3-year-old and soon to be 5-year-old, who have obviously been there for most of the journey of Greenstreat, and it has ebbed and flowed. There's some times where I'm just like, this is amazing. I'm able to spend so much time with the family.
Sure.
And then it completely changes. I wish I could spend more time with the family. And there's always that guilt factor, which any entrepreneur will know about. It's, you feel guilty when you're at home about not being at work, and you feel guilty about being at work when you're not home.
Yeah.
And that's just your mindset. You need to change it and you need to understand it. So my big thing for this year is being better with planning, for being better with overall strategy and seeing within the umbrella of what's happening.
Yeah.
And carving out time for both, so that when I'm with the family, I'm with the family. When I'm at work, I'm at work.
Sure.
So there's tools you can use to do that, obviously.
Yep.
Fundamentally, you need to believe it and you need to set it up yourself. Tools are a guideline, but you need to be fully prepared for what you want to do in the next 3 or 4 months, and live it out and then do it again.
Yep.
Because things change, and you need to have a very, very patient family to do what I'm doing. So luckily I do, but I think the scales tilt. So you just need to keep them even at all points. Step back, have a look at where it's at.
Yeah.
Make that change.
Yeah. Because we've had many conversations over the years, and I feel like I know you pretty well. I feel like you're trying to leave a legacy in regards with Greenstreat. And if I want to think about it, I reckon without you answering, I think there's probably 2 legacies you're probably trying to leave. One is imparting good nutrition on people and leaving people feeling full and nourished, but also a healthy product. And the other one is changing your staff's lives and making sure they have really great experiences inside Greenstreat and enjoy Greenstreat and talk about it in 20 years' time like I talk about Bakes Delight when I first joined?
Yeah.
Which one's more important?
I don't think they're two separate things. In my opinion, they're both together. I look at everything holistically. Like, it's like, it's probably a bad metaphor, but it's like having a nutritious meal and going home and spending the rest of the night doom scrolling on your phone.
Yep.
One's going to counter the other. You need to be balanced, and you need to look at everything. So, if we're talking about legacies, what I'd really like to do is to make people feel better. In whichever way that I touch them, whether it's in a restaurant or whether it's just, by talking or whatever it is, I want them to know that that conversation or that feeling is making them feel better. And a meal here could make them feel much better about themselves. So then they go home and make a habitual change at home that makes them a better person at home. I might give someone an opportunity to stay in hospitality that completely changes their life because they felt so much better by being in hospitality than what they thought they were told to do in the long run. So the whole thing is holistic for me, and I can't say one's better than the other. One might lead to the other being better, but I can't say that one's better than the other. I think there's so many things that we are exposed to every single day that we need to look at with open eyes and question it, because there's so much that, there's so much that I look at and I'm like, why do we do that?
Yeah.
Why are we doing it like that? And if you have that curious mindset, you will make changes and you will make other people around you do the same. So for me, it's just about making people feel better. That's really what I want to do. And obviously the easy one is just through what you eat. That's what everyone perceives as health. Mm-hmm. So much more than that is onion. Peel back the layers. Like every single time you look into what makes us better, what makes us healthier, what makes us enjoy life a lot more, there's so much to it. And you can believe whatever you want to believe, as long as you're making positive change to yourself. That's what it's all about.
I mean this with the greatest amount of respect. Where does that altruistic and positive mindset come from? Was there a point where things had changed and you went, no, I'm going to go down this track. I'm going to take my brothers along with me and I'm going to take my family along with me. And we're going to start this amazing, healthy brand. And we're going to really think about ourselves and the impact that we make. Or was this coming from your family beforehand? Like, where has it come from?
I think
it's very unique.
I think it's mum and dad. A lot of it is to do with hospitality. Mm-hmm. From a young age, I saw what mum and dad did every single day. I always say to people, I joke with people, I learned what not to do in hospitality. And I talk about more so like the setting and the product and all the hardship that goes along with a la carte restaurants when they're not positioned correctly.
Yes.
But in reality, what I did was I was learning about how to treat people, how to make people feel. I remember watching a manager that mum and dad had in the restaurant called Lance, and he used to just like float around the room and he'd have a handle on what people were doing. And he knew he could morph himself into making them feel comfortable. And all of a sudden there's a spot fire over here, it's just effortless. I remember just doing that and watching what happened. And I remember mum and dad very purposely picked those people to make the four walls feel amazing. And they also did it at home as well. There was never this is what I should do.
Sure.
It's always go and have a go. I used to be at swimming 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'd go to school and I'd go back to swimming at 4 p.m. after school. I'd, maybe have tennis after that or whatever it was. The household was so full for me, but there was never a moment where mum and dad would just be like, you're doing too much. They would let me find that out for myself.
Right.
And I think the mentality comes from just have a go at it. Just have a go at it and work it out. Don't think about the worst thing that can happen. Think about the best thing that can happen out of that. And you'll figure it out along the way of what to change. But I question my optimism sometimes as well, because, trying to find those blind spots in business is a challenge. But I think without optimism, the world can be very gloomy. Yes. And without optimism, the people around you can miss a lot. a lot of opportunity. So for me, I don't know if it's anything in particular that has done that, but I certainly believe there's a lot more to give than what a lot of people give. And whether it's hardship or, whatever it is, the mindset is everything. So you need to stop playing the victim and you need to get out there and do it.
Sure.
And if something doesn't work, get over it real quick. Get over it real quick. When things are happening, when you see things just happening in front of you, and that's the norm, all the fish are swimming in one direction, screw that, go the other way. See what happens.
Yeah.
You might find that it's easier going the other way, but it might not be the right place to go into. So just, as I said before, be curious. Be curious. I think Ted Lasso really rubbed off on me. It's
absolutely.
That quote that he says is, be curious, not judgmental. And I think a lot of people are quick to judge when if they had a curious mindset, you'd learn a lot more and you'd probably get a lot further.
2 more questions for you. What's the smallest operational change you've made in the business which has given the biggest impact to Greenstreat?
I think, there's been a lot. The reason it's so hard to answer that question is because there's been a lot. And I could talk about the point of sale changes we've made. I could talk about the integration changes we've made. I could talk about the menu changes. I think the major pivot that we made was when we implemented the magical moments in Melbourne. So one of the most amazing people in the world is Will Guardia.
Of course, yeah. Real hospitality. Yeah.
Yep, he just says some amazing things. And I remember listening to him one day and I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. It's exactly what I needed. And it's the art of giving people more than they expect. And it's contagious if done properly. Very easy to do in a fine dining setting. When you've got complete control of the room, you've got the opportunity to do things. When people are going to come, when they're going to leave within reason.
Yep. They're spending a lot of money, so you can
spending
service the
a lot
problem.
of money, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Bit more of a challenge to do in fast casual.
Yes.
Very challenging.
Yes.
But again, have a go at it and see what you can do. So we implemented within the team, we've got a street fight, which happens every single hour before service.
Okay.
And it's like the pre-service dinner, style setting that a lot of people are used to in hospitality. Ours is a little bit more dynamic. It's 5 minutes of the sensei. So the reason it's called street fight is because we do everything that we do at Greenstreat is against the norm. We're fighting every single day against the norm. Our employees are called hooligans.
Yep.
And every position has some sort of fighting name. So there's a brawler, which is your fastest. There's the cavalry, which is the backup. There's the haymaker. But the sensei is the manager. The negotiator is the point of sale. They're negotiating to not get in the fight in the first place. And they're the people dealing with the customers most of the time. So this street fight encompasses everything. It's the reason that we are going into service every single day. It's what can we do to make our customers feel amazing? Mm-hmm. Part of this is the magical moments. How can we give them more than they expect? Naturally, not forced, naturally. And further to that, what is it that we're doing that we can share to the greater team? So we have one street fight every Monday morning, the whole team.
Wow.
Whole team, it's obviously virtual. And we share what those magical moments were. And it's funny, I remember Fitzroy, the manager of our Little Collins Street store, Ethan started at Fitzroy, and breaking through Fitzroy was really difficult, and people want value. So he had a big board, which I'm sure people at Fitzroy will remember, had a big board on the wall, like a calendar, but instead of writing your to-do list, it was what was a magical moment for the day. And it filled up so quickly, and then customers would come and ask, what was today? It was like an advent calendar, so to speak,
cool.
Where on that day it's like, oh, what happened yesterday? What was it? And really? It might have been just that, one off the top of my mind was, a dad quickly parked at the window. The kid ran out with him while the dad was ordering. He was like, oh, can I have a chocolate bar? And the dad said no. When Ethan gave the meal, he put the chocolate bar in the meal, and then when the dad got in the car, I was like, thank you so much, that's amazing. And the kid just had a massive smile on his face. And I remember Ethan talking about this, and it was infectious throughout the whole chat. It was like, that's cool. That's really cool because you don't have to do that stuff. You know,
No.
people would look at that as a transaction of like, that's giving away the chocolate bar free. Why'd you do that?
Yes, exactly.
But if you have your systems in place and you can see that happening, that ROI is special. That ROI will bring back so much more than, you know, any transaction is going to give. So that's what built Fitzroy, was that community feel, was that how can we give more than what we're currently giving? And it just went through the whole Greenstreat like wildfire.
Love it.
And the best thing is when it's done properly, it becomes a competition who can do it best. So I don't know if it is operational, but it's more like how can we have more fun? How can we give more? And that is really hard to measure. But I can guarantee you it's so much more impactful than any other small operational change that we've made.
Yeah,
I could have said kiosks, but we would have stopped talking. We would have stopped talking a long time ago.
That's not nearly as fun. Where do you want to take Greenstreat? And where do you think you can take Greenstreat? Because it is a challenging market. You're up against a big competitor right now who's growing.
Yep.
You know, who's directly across the road from us right now. Like, how can you grow?
Yeah, for me, competition. I look at competition as the, you know, the burgers of Australia and the big burrito chains. They're the ones that have fast food by the scruff of the neck. You know, people just front of mind. I'm going there to get it. Every single time that someone comes to us, is one less burger that is being consumed. You know, I love burgers, but I love burgers when they're done right. I love burgers when they're done with purpose. I don't like a burger when it's just a burger. You know, near enough, good enough. No. For us, it's how can we nourish, satisfy, and give people enjoyment. So when I look at competition, that's really who I look for. Is how can we get more people eating better? How can we get more people being happier about the transaction? What does Greenstreat look for us in the future? I think if you ask me every year, it changes. But where we started, we wanted to be everywhere, on every corner, wherever we possibly could. But what I now know is that Greenstreat's well positioned to be a very strong brand done correctly.
Okay.
It's not mass, it's quality. I want to start getting better connections with farmers. I want to have more meaningful connections with our customers. I want to change more people's lives. And by doing that, obviously we need to get the product into the hands of the consumer. But I want to do it in a way that is more than just a transaction and a product going across the counter. I want to do it where people want to come and enjoy it.
Sure.
And every single time, you know, we're not perfect, but every single time when they walk away, they leave better than they arrived. And in order to do that, we need to be very strategic about how we grow, where we grow to, the markets that we go into. You know, franchising is a buzzword that's used in fast food. It's not really for us, you know, because we will lose so much from giving just the product. You know, we lose control on what that product's actually doing. So down the track, you know, anything's up for discussion, but it's for us right now, it's how can we make the most impact and give the best food day in, day out. And that journey for us is slow growth. It's just slow, controlled growth.
Smart.
Because if we do fast and we just go for, you know, the profits, if we do that, then like some of our competitors, it'll be limp lettuce. And that is not what we want.
Yeah. It sounds like you've reached a contentment in how, to use your wording before, how Greenstreat nourishes you. That must have taken a long time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, 7 years to be precise. No, but I think you've got to do it properly. You've got to do it so well. And there's so many great, healthy, fast casual in Australia now doing it really well. And it's obvious to see because they're taking their time. They're doing it properly and they're doing it consistently, and they're making their mark by doing that. You know, if you look at what's happened in the market very recently with a couple of acquisitions in the fast food scene, it's changing really quickly. And the fast food sector isn't what it used to be. It's now becoming a part of Australia that people want to be involved in, and it's holding so much power because you can make a drastic change on someone's life. You are at the cold front of connection with people.
Yep.
And it's now up to the establishments whether you pivot into a full tech AI side or whether you hold true on what you are and where you started and build on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a very interesting place to watch. And if you look overseas, there's some pivoting completely, which is really interesting to see because I thought it would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't dig your head in the sand and just stay where you are. The businesses that are succeeding are value stacking with their core values, and how can you make your team's life easier? How can you make your customers' experience flawless? How can you put more effort into food development?
Yep.
How can you make sure that every single meal that goes out is the best it can possibly be?
Yep.
I think there's some give and take there, and I think people are going to make a lot of mistakes, and I think people are going to learn some hard truths in doing that. But where we stand is stay true to your core, make sure it's there every single day, and out of the customers and out of your team and out of your stakeholders, how are those touch points going to make their life better?
Yep.
And if it's a clear yes, then trial it.
Yep.
Have a go and see what it does.
Yep.
You know, Brisbane sits in Queensland by itself, and it's our test kitchen. It's our test ground. It does all the testing. And if it works, it comes down to Melbourne. If it doesn't, you never see it. But that's the beauty of what we are. We're a lean business, and we can pivot quickly, which is awesome. But you can't do any of it. You can't do any of this without good people. So, we want to make sure that we're helping, not hindering. I think it's just a space to watch in this AI-driven craziness. I think just watch it. Have your finger on the pulse. Don't be closed-minded. Just look at it for what it is and see how is that going to impact my business. Yep. And if it's a clear yes, or you think it's a clear yes, trial it. If it changes your life for the better and the team's life for the better and the customer's life for the better, then why wouldn't you make the change? But if it doesn't, don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah, which I feel could be another podcast for another day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much for knowing us for the last couple of years, and I appreciate our friendship and having a conversation with someone who I know is on the precipice of doing even more amazing things, even though you're doing amazing things right now. Some of the best product quality in Australia, bar none, no matter what category, just outside of salads, but all QSR. And well done to you and your brothers for creating a great brand that I think is exceptional.
Appreciate it, Shaun. And to you, mate, thank you for doing what you do. Hospitality needs a lot of people like you. You give a lot, and I know what that's like. You just give and give and give. And honestly, we need more people like you in the hospitality world to keep it spinning. So keep doing what you're doing, mate. I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. This episode of the Ingredients Podcast is brought to you by Tanda, helping the best venues stay ahead. Now, if you want to run a great venue but stay compliant at the same time, then hit up the Tanda team at hospitality@tanda.com.au.